Oil's exploding, stocks are diving, and Trump war drums are shaking Wall Street. Want to know what went down this weekend and which stocks are about to soar? Smash the like button and stick with me because I'm dropping the hottest trading plays for this week. So over this weekend, man, and last night we got some big news. So the U.S. striked Iran. We're going to be talking more about that a little bit later. Trump said on Truth Social that Iran should stop or they will get hit again. The U.S. also reached out to Iran on Saturday, clarifying that the strikes are all that is planned for now and there is no intention for a regime change. And honestly, this is just showing that, U.S. does not want to escalate it any further and they just wanted to end the nuclear plans. But let's dive in what happened over the weekend. It's been a wild one. The Iran-Israel conflict, now in its third week, escalated after U.S. airstrikes hit Iran's Fordo, Nats. It basically hit 3 sites. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the rest. I didn't even get the first one right. But on Saturday night, per CNN, Trump called it a move to stop Iran's nuclear threat, but Iran vowed retaliation, spiking oil to $85 a barrel, up 5% for the week. Energy stocks like ExxonMobil and Chevron soared 3 to 4%, while airlines like Delta dropped 2%. I'm going to be making a full video on this war and what it means for the stock market overall. So I have those post notifications on and let's get to 500 subs. I'm also going to be updating you guys with shorts daily and throughout the day so you guys are updated overall. But with all that being said, man, so on Friday, we closed mixed. The Dow was up 0.08%, the S&P 500 was down 0.22%, and the Nasdaq fell 0.51%. We seen Nvidia have a big sell of 3% on a US-China chip waiver fears. We also seen Tesla make a tiny rally, but kind of sold off shortly after that. But on a robotaxi hype coming out, so keep Tesla overall on your radar and Nvidia to the downside. CarMax was looking a little volatile, but had some decent earnings come out. So it held it 11% post-earnings rally, 1.38 EPS versus 1.17 expected. The VIX, on the other hand, hit 22.55, but now it's at 20.64. We're seeing a lot of volatility in the volatility S&P index. And gold surged to 3,400 as a safe haven. Monday's weak Empire State Manufacturing Index, negative 7.9, and Tuesday's retail inventories, negative 0.2, signaled slowdown fears per Bloomberg. So buckle up for more heat. Speaking of heat, let's look at the heat map a little bit. Honestly, looking pretty red for the day, but if we go to the weekly, we're looking a little green in some stocks like Nvidia, Apple, but not too green like we seen a couple weeks ago. One big one is going to be AMD. AMD has been doing pretty good, up 10% for now. Tesla up almost 3% for the week, but honestly, not really looking like strong gains right now, but honestly, just looking like an average stock market day to say, but this is for the weekly overall. For anyone that's trying to take their trading to the next level, made a website with a bunch of courses that you guys can check out. First link in the description below. Check it out if you guys want to up your knowledge on the stock market. Relatively cheap courses, and we have sales going on. So check them out while the sales is still happening. I'm also coming out with daily blogs to update you guys with the stock market before I even make these videos. So if you guys want early news, early stock plays, and things to watch, check out the site as well. This is completely free. Just go into the website, go into Creator's Blog. You guys can check it out if you guys want. But what is the vibe for the US stock market this week? So the Iran-Israel conflict, U.S. airstrikes on Iran nuclear sites have oil at around $85 and rising. If Iran retaliates or the Strait of Hormuz gets hit, oil could surge to 95 or even 100 to 120. So keep that in mind overall. Boosting energy stocks like ExxonMobil, but crushing airlines and retailers like DAL and Walmart. Ceasefire talks hinted at by Iran's nuclear program negotiators could tank oil and defense overall. So keep that in mind while trading because a ceasefire can happen overnight and mess up your trades. Fed's hawkish stance. So the Fed's June 18th meeting projected 25 basis point cuts in 2025 with a 3% inflation and 1.4% growth per CNBC. Yields at 4.48% are slamming tech, but Fed Governor Waller's Friday's push for a July cut, citing tame inflation despite tariffs, sparked hope per Yahoo Finance. Only 60% expect a September cut. Watch Fed speeches for dovish clues that could lift growth stocks overall. So Trump tariffs overall. Trump's Truth Social post Sunday teased tariff letters targeting autos, chips, and pharma, potentially hitting Ford, Intel, and Pfizer. So keep these stocks on your radar. A U.S.-China trade deal could boost stocks like Tesla or Apple, and maybe even Nvidia, some bigger stocks like that. But chip stocks are shaky after U.S. plans to revoke China tech waivers. So stay glued to Truth Social for Trump's next move, and I'm going to try to update you guys as much as I can. With that being said, man, we're going to speed run through the supports and resistance. If you guys want a full supports and resistance overview, I posted it in my last video, but these are just going to be summaries. So for NVIDIA overall, I want to watch that 145.5 and that 141 level, up or down. If it could break below even more, all the way down that 141, we might break down to like 140.5, all the way down to like 139.5. If we could break above this, look at 150 next for NVIDIA overall. Next is going to be AMD because you can make a decent play with AMD, especially if you can buy it at around that 126.3 level, unless this chip curve affects it a decent amount, which it might, honestly. But with that being said, if we do sell below this, you might be able to play some puts and fill these gaps downwards. And or if we make a big bounce, you might be able to play a call option back up to that 130 level. So keep AMD on your radar. Next one is going to be Boeing. We have been getting some bad news with Boeing overall, and honestly, just been bearish. So do watch that 197, 195, and that 190 level to the downside for Boeing. But if we do start breaking up, look at that 201, 203, and that 205 to that 210 level for Boeing overall. Next is going to be SPY. SPY is honestly bearish, and especially with this news, I think we have like a 1% potentially go breaking downwards when market opens up tonight. So keep that in mind to see how market opens up tonight and also how it opens up during market hours. And honestly, you could make your play based on that. We start selling off, oil starts like spiking, and stuff like that. Safe haven gold starts spiking. You might see SPY selling off even more. So watch that 592 to that 590 level, and then 585 to that 580 level. To the upside, if we do start breaking up again, maybe people bush off the news like we've been seeing recently, and or just some good news comes out overall, maybe a ceasefire. Watch that 600 level, 603.5, 605, and that 610 level for SPY. Next one's going to be Apple, man. Apple did make some good price action, break above some key levels. So do watch that 202, 203.5, and that 205 level. To the downside, look at that 200, 199, 198.5, and that 195 level for Apple. Honestly, I was pretty confident in yesterday's video, but then this war came out. We're getting involved. So honestly, tech stocks and stuff like that like to sell off during these events. So if we do see a big sell off, you might see Apple start selling off and kind of break past these gains. So honestly, I think Apple is like a 50-50. We can either break above some more and or sell off with the overall war news. So keep that in mind overall. Next one, man, Bitcoin has been very volatile. We made some lows, almost that 100K level, but honestly 101,000. So honestly, watch that level to the downside. If we can break below that, we might get below that 100K level, honestly. But honestly, on the weekends, you can really watch Bitcoin to see how the overall market is moving and potentially how it's going to open up. We've seen Bitcoin make a big sell off, so we're potentially going to get a big sell off in the overall market and futures. But honestly, man, watch that 104, that 105, and that 106.8 level. And above that, look at that 110 level to the upside. Some good stocks to trade. First one's going to be MSTR, moves exactly with Bitcoin. But right now, Coinbase got some good news. So look at Coinbase and a ticker, IBIT, move. It's an ETF that moves with Bitcoin. And if you guys want to make some plays to the upside and or to the downside, you can make a decent amount of money, especially if you got in at Friday's open. You bought a put option all the way up here at that $60 level. You could have been like $2 to $3 in the money and made a decent amount of money. The deltas are pretty good on this, and honestly, a pretty good trade to make. So some stocks to watch this week. First one's gonna be ExxonMobil, especially if oil starts spiking, you can play it to the upside. But then if we get peace talks or anything like that, you can play ExxonMobil to the downside once oil starts selling off as well. So keep that on your radar. RTX, basically a wartime stock. It spikes, especially with US being involved. So I do recommend looking at RTX. Next one is going to be CrowdStrike Holdings. It's basically cybersecurity. So please keep this on your radar as well. We might make a breakup, but honestly, this one isn't really moving as much as the other stocks, and we're kind of getting a little sell off. Next one's going to be GLD. If you see GLD spiking, this is an ETF that moves with it. You can make call options, put options, whatever you really feel like, but you can play it to like its highs and then honestly play put options. And honestly, if you get a put option right before a ceasefire, you'll make a lot of money, but I mean, that's gambling basically, but GLD is great to watch. Tesla, just because of the robotaxi launch and stuff like that, kind of watch the 313.5 and the 332 level. And if you can make a break above that, might be bullish a little bit more. Make a break below this, might be bearish even more. So honestly, just watch those levels overall. And CRCL has just been spiking up with all the Bitcoin hype. Got some good news with it. So honestly, CRCL has been looking good to the upside. Can even play to the downside as well. That being said, though, man, all the war and stuff like that is getting kind of hectic. I'm going to be making a full video on the war and what else going on and what all to expect for the overall stock market. This is just a summary for the week. I really want to get more in depth with some certain stocks you can trade and stuff like that with the war. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching the video. Smash the like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and check out the website. First link in the description below. Peace out.